Well, welcome Coasties. Here we are. It is the start of a Sunday morning. You betcha it is. It's also the first Sunday of the month. Yeah, we are here again, June. And we are on the wind down, guys. Not much longer and we are into the financial year starting over again. It's pretty crazy, really, isn't it? But yeah, halfway through the year. Can you believe that? It's insane. Welcome to Rhema Central Coast. If you're just joining us for the first time this morning, I'm Lindy. I'm your Sunday morning host, and yeah, welcome. It happens to be Sunday. There we go. We have made it through another week. Guys, I do hope your week has been good. I hope you're going to get a chance today to spend some time just kind of calling time out and just making the most this weekend. That extra day tomorrow we can never deny that one extra day does seem to make things a lot easier. So I hope that this weekend you really get a chance just to call time out, have a bit of a restart. I'm certainly making a conscious effort to do that as much as I can. Because you know what, it's one of those things. We just need to rest sometimes, and I'm all over that idea really. So if you can, take it and run with it. Now, this morning we are talking New Zealand. We're talking about those guys across the ditch, our friends, our kind of our buddies, if you like. We're talking New Zealand. We've been talking about lots of different countries over the last few weeks, and this week is no different. We're going to be talking New Zealand. I hope you can stick with us. I'm looking forward to exploring this with you. See you soon. And welcome back, guys. That was I Speak Jesus by Josh Baldwin. Good morning and welcome to Rhema Central Coast. It's a delight to have you guys here yet again. I hope you have had a good start to your day. I'm Lindy. I'm your Sunday morning host here. So welcome. We are well and truly getting closer to the sort of rounding off with the financial year this next few weeks. What are we up to? Yeah, we're kind of about 3 weeks out. 3 weeks? 3.5, something like that. Before the end of the financial year, guys. Good time to kind of work out the whole financial aspect of how to round things up for you guys. I'm doing the same at my house. It's a good time to sort of think ahead. And there are plenty of great organisations out there that can really benefit from your support. Obviously, us here at Rhema Central Coast, we've been so thankful for the support you guys have offered throughout, all the different means and supports that you can financially, prayerfully. Words of encouragement always go a long way as well. But yeah, it's such a good thing for you and I to be able to get behind. Obviously lots of different organisations, but I highlight obviously our need here as well. We had our open days last week and that was great to see you guys. And we're creeping up there, but we can always use some more support. If you are able to help out, that would be amazing. Before we go too far ahead with our program this morning, I just want to say, thank you to those who work behind the scenes in lots of different organisations. I'm going to emphasise, obviously, what happens here at Rhema, but I do know that it's the volunteers that get behind the scenes sometimes and really are this underlying force of how things evolve. And so if you're somebody who puts your hand up each week, whether it's here or somewhere else, and says, I'm going to help out in whatever way I can, thank you. I do mean that. I don't just say that just for myself. I say it from, the perspective of a community who really do need people to get things moving and keep them moving. I know it can be hard. It can be, tricky to work out how you find the time to do whatever you need to do. But it is beneficial and you are so valued by the community because of what you do. So thank you. I don't know why I just felt like I needed to say that, but I just kind of thought, you know what? While I'm thinking of it, let's throw it out there. A big thank you to those volunteers out there here at Rhema, obviously, but also just those who are volunteering anywhere, because honestly, I've worked with them. I've overseen not-for-profits. I understand it is really hard to keep things evolving at times when you don't have people behind you. So when you do, it is an absolute bonus and you are to be treasured. So I hope you feel it. I really do mean that. Guys, we have been talking about different countries over the last few weeks, and there is a reason for that. I'm going to just highlight things back to you. I'm going to bring it back to you and ask you a bit of a question. Perhaps, let's put a scenario out there. I know that this Sunday morning is kind of a time slot where you've got people either coming and going from church. You've got people who might not be able to get up and out to church. You might have people who are just not emotionally ready to go to church. There might be something that has happened in the past where it's a bit of a burden to try and push through hurts. Church hurt is real. I will acknowledge that completely. And it can be really hard to push past it and go, you know what, I'm ready to jump in and get involved with a church. So this is a time slot that's really good for people who still want to be connected to church, if you like, but perhaps can't get themselves there yet. Or perhaps you are in the opposite side and you're actually in ministry and it's full on. I want to say that it doesn't matter where your life is right now, there is some purpose. There is plenty of purpose, actually. I minimised that when I said that then. But there is plenty of purpose in where you are right now. Now, you might be at home thinking, but I can't even leave the house. I can't get out. Things are too hard for me. I'm physically not able to. I'm very, I'm unwell, or I'm just not in a good space in my thinking. There could be lots of different reasons or things going on for you at the moment that limit what you feel like you can and can't do. Well, over the last few weeks, we have been talking about lots of different parts of the globe. And one of the main focuses of that has been to draw attention to the need for prayer for places across the globe. The main reason that I'm highlighting these things each week is purely so we can be a praying people. We can, together bring these countries, these nations before us in prayer. Now, I'm a huge believer in the power of prayer, especially for your nation. But to be able to pray for other people's nations is powerful, and I want to encourage you to do that. I know that sometimes when we pray for things like this, we can see unexpected things that we just go, hang on a sec, that's not what I prayed for. That's not how I have been putting my prayers into play. Or we can be sort of thrown by how things are playing out, as opposed to what other people around us think they should be playing out. Now, the reason I say that is because I don't know if I'm pretty sure I have mentioned this, but back in 2016, I really felt a strong conviction to be praying for the US. And we were actually traveling through the US. It was about 2 days before the election that I really, really felt like I needed to pray for the state of the United States and for opportunities to surface, for God to be seen in that nation again. Flying across that nation, I have had, I'm not going to go into that too much today, but I will say that I had the most spectacular visions that I have ever had, and I heard the word of God. And I realized the power of prayer in that. Now, what I will tell you, I won't tell you what I saw, but there's plenty of documentation out there to show you what I saw, because I did see some pretty powerful things in that. Now, we're literally up in the air 2 nights before the election, flying across from one part of the US to the next, from the east to the west coast. And I saw some things from beneath, like to look down, beneath me that were visions. They weren't literally what I saw, they were visions. And one thing I heard was God whisper. Actually, it wasn't even a whisper. It was more of a bold statement. It was the words, "Watch what I do in this nation. Watch what I do in this nation over the next 12 years. I'm bringing my people back to me." Pretty powerful words. Didn't really kind of grasp it at the time. Only thinking, I don't know what could possibly happen in 12 years. I had no idea how anything played out politically. I did not know a lot about that stuff in terms of how the US works. But what I have known is that I have watched since that point of what has played out in the US. And I can say that even though I hear around me what a mess it is, I hear people talking about what a mess things are, I also know that there's a movement of God that is so powerful. And sometimes it takes us being prepared to go against the voices of many and saying, I will stand firm and I will pray for this nation. Now, I'm not saying that my prayers took things anywhere, but what I'm saying is that there is power in prayer. So when I bring these nations to us on a Sunday morning, what I'm saying to you guys is you have some powerful stuff going on. You have the opportunity to pray for these nations in a way that spins and spirals and points them back up to God. You have the power. You are important. So when you might be thinking, I can't go anywhere this morning, Lindy, I can't get to church, it does not matter. What I'm saying to you in this very moment is you have purpose. And your purpose right now, in addition to other things going on for you in your own individual life, is for us. It's our purpose, if you like, to be bringing our thoughts and our prayers to different nations. Now, this morning I'm covering New Zealand, so it's a bit of a, they're our kind of brothers. They're our people across the road. We do life with them here in Australia all the time, our New Zealanders, our friends. So it feels almost like we're praying for our own people when we talking about New Zealand. But before I wanted to, really get into this morning, I wanted to highlight that important aspect of you and your role in that, because you do have an amazing role in shining a light and saying to God, this nation, God, they're important, and I'm lifting them up to you. So that's why I know I'm not getting into as much as what I do normally by this stage in recovering a country, but I really wanted to highlight the purpose behind this. I'm not just kind of throwing things out there to go, there's different nations. This is a call and a prompting on us to move and to respond to the people that God loves and to lift them up to him and say, hey, they're important to me too, God. Make your presence known. Anyway, I'm going to just call it time out there. I'll come back in a little bit. We will talk more about New Zealand specifically. But this is my prompting, guys. This is what I'm asking you. Think about how you can be praying for those throughout the globe. Specifically this week we're talking New Zealand. But yeah, it's a prompting. What can we do as a team of people who love God to be lifting up these nations before him? And it can start with prayer. I'll see you guys back here in a few minutes. Hey, welcome back, guys. That was Healing by Riley Clemens. Pretty appropriate for what we are talking about this morning, this Sunday morning. We are talking about our role in seeing the world healed. And that comes from our need to be highlighting parts of the globe and what's going on for them. I'm starting today with New Zealand. So, we're talking about our brothers and sisters across the kind of ditch, I guess you could call it. But we are talking how we can help them to see more and more of Christ in just their everyday. For those of you who don't know me, I am Lindy. I'm your Sunday morning host here. And we have been covering over the last few weeks different countries. We've been bringing to our own attention things going on for different parts of the world and how we can be praying. Specifically, we are praying for a movement. We're praying for a movement of Christ to be revealed in different parts of the globe. Now, yes, I know that some of the countries that I've mentioned over the last few weeks freely talk about, their faith, or they're free to explore what faith looks like. Last week we covered China, not necessarily the same sort of scenario there. There's not as many freedoms for them, which again highlights a different sort of style or need for prayer. But this is the thing, guys. It is so important for us to know what is happening, know a little bit about the nations that we are covering in prayer, so that we can specifically kind of align our prayers with them. I think it's just so important for us to get to know what is around us so that we can be praying. Now, specifically, if I want to sort of give you an idea of why that's important to me, I have worked with lots of different cultures, and the things that I will hear about them in media, mainstream media, even social media, aren't necessarily what I will hear from those who have, in most cases, fled from those situations or those scenarios or that lifestyle or that nation. So, as best as we can, we have to get to know what is happening for the people of different nations. This week, as I said, we are doing New Zealand. I think New Zealand are they're kind of like our cousins, our brothers and sisters across the road. They're just, the people we hang out with. We jump on a plane and we sort of end up there. Having said that, I haven't been there myself, looking forward to it at some point. But many people have, and it's the convenience of how close it is, I think. We have a very similar sort of style of living. It's kind of, we're kind of geared the same way, I think, in a lot of ways. We have a very similar sort of outlook and a similar sort of style of living. Obviously, we're different, but we're similar. We're very similar. But going about that, I want to throw some fun sort of facts at you that we covered last week at our kids club. And some of them I was quite okay with. I'm like, you know what, would not mind jumping across the ditch, if you like, and landing in a place that has no snakes. Because according to research that I have found here, there are no native snakes in New Zealand. And they are banned from the country to protect local wildlife. Now, I'm okay with that. Totally fine. That would be totally fine by me. I'm not a snake lover, so that would be okay. I don't know about you guys, but living more rural, you're kind of more likely to see those little guys in action. And they're not my thing. I'm not something that, they're not something that I want to pick up and assess. I'm quite happy to do a runner and get out of there if there are snakes. So New Zealand might be an option for me. One of the things we have highlighted just by doing a quick Google search, obviously we have the native bird is the kiwi bird. It's unique. It doesn't fly, which is amazing. And it's about the size of a chicken. So it has... I can honestly say I've never seen a kiwi bird, but according to this, it has feathers that look a lot like a shaggy hare. Interesting. Okay, which is kind of what we did last week as a bit of an activity for the kids I was working with. We were making these little birds. I think they had no idea what I was actually trying to do, so everyone had their own style of bird. But according to this, the kiwi bird is supposed to, and it does look like a shaggy hare. So interesting. In New Zealand, they are famous for their farm animals, particularly when it comes to their sheep. While they have 5 million people, there are 25 million sheep. Crazy stuff. No native land mammals. Before humans arrived, according to this Google search, the only native land mammals were bats. Very interesting. And that comes, hand in hand with why you are likely to see so many birds there. Particularly the world's largest parrot, which is called I think it's a kakapo. I've probably got that messed up big time. No idea. And yeah, it's crazy. Down to culture, a little bit about culture. Maori culture obviously is something that we see here in Australia too. When we see people kind of making the change and heading over to Australia, the Maori people were the first people to live in New Zealand. And according to this, it looks like they arrived around 1300 AD. The official languages, you know what? I am not going to be able to pass this one off, so I'm not even going to say that, but I will say that there are 3 official languages. You can do your own research on that one. I'm not even going to attempt it because I will mess it up big time. But yeah, it's cool just to kind of look at slight differences that we have between the different nations, between us and New Zealand. Even though they're just not, they're not too far. They're really very close to us. But yeah, it's similar sort of settings and styles of people. There's certainly an aspect where we look at Aboriginal culture in Australia and the Maori sort of culture, and we look at how both cultures are obviously very connected to the land. And yeah, there's similarities, I think, but we are also different. When we come back, we'll sort of dig more into what we can be praying for when it comes to New Zealand. But I just thought to throw some interesting little facts at you and just kind of get you sort of started, get the ball rolling. Who are we looking at? New Zealand. Rightio. That's those guys. Now I remember. Anyway, we'll, do some more digging before too long. And Be the Change by Britt Nicole. Welcome back, guys. It is Sunday morning. It's Rhema Central Coast you happen to be listening to. I'm Lindy, and obviously I'm doing very well to put all those important things into your mind right there, because I was really struggling with just the main concepts of what I was trying to say. Then nothing was coming out. I'm like, it's not happening. Anyway, Be the Change. What an awesome sort of aspect or perspective to be coming back from, or coming back to. That's sort of what we've been highlighting this morning. I actually love, I know it's not coincidence, but kind of is, but not really. That I don't pick the songs I listen to, that we have aired on a Sunday morning. That's not me. I don't have any role in that really at all, but I sort of just leave it and just do my thing. And somehow they just seem to just fit. It's like, I don't know. I've got a feeling that Evan's behind this, so I don't know if it's just pure, he just throws it in and I don't know how it works. I don't know anything about that. All I know is that I just come here and talk. That's what I do. But I do know that we have a God that we serve who does tie things together beautifully. He's a God who does like the themes. I'm pretty sure he does. He likes us to be able to sit in things and just go think about this a bit longer. And perhaps that is what he is talking to us about this morning. The need to really process our role in seeing the world change. We are talking, obviously, mainly about New Zealand this morning. I will slow myself down. I'm getting a bit excited. I don't know what it is. Sunday morning, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, it's one of those things. I think that we have a role to play. We need to be able to acknowledge the things that are happening around us, so that we can be prayerfully considering what's and how we support the people of these different nations, but also how to navigate and direct our prayers. We need to know what's happening. It's a bit of a cycle. We need to know what's happening so that we can be praying, or if we don't pray, it's a wasted opportunity. It's a wasted opportunity for us to really highlight to God what is important to us, and that is the people of this world. It's a role that we have. We've got a role to play in lifting up these nations to him. And he hears our prayers, guys. I think that's the main part of it. It's a calling on us. He's asking us what's important, and it is the people of the world. Today we are highlighting New Zealand. We've talked about some interesting sort of, silly little facts that are just unique to New Zealand. But I want to highlight, before I do that, some prayers specifically that have been actually highlighted on a website called AmazingLifeNewZealand.com. It's AmazingLifeNZ.com actually. But prayers specifically related to that nation. Something that they have highlighted here, obviously, is first and foremost that all of New Zealand shall be saved. That's the ultimate goal. And then they have gone on to, let me list actually a few different things for you. That every Christian in New Zealand is on fire for God. That this is something that is just so bold and such a part of their life that they just all see Christ. What a prayer that could be for Australian too, like Australians or Australia. They highlight here a need to pray for people in New Zealand that are into the occult, okay? And that they would see the greatness of God, and all of them shall be saved. So highlighting that is a big deal. This is one of the ones that we have been talking about the most this morning, is a move of revival among all of the children of New Zealand, and actually in all of New Zealand. We're seeing some pretty common themes here, guys, as we're ticking away at things this morning. It's a need for prayer, for revival. We also have here that every second of every day and all night every day and every night there will be groups of Christians in New Zealand who are fasting, praying, interceding and crying out for lost souls to be saved, for worshipping, meditating on the Word of God and preaching to the lost with signs and wonders following. Now this website I just found, through just a bit of a Google search going, what specifically can we be praying for? This popped up, and there's some pretty important things here, pretty specific prayers that we can be applying to our prayer life for them. It takes awareness. It takes us being able to acknowledge what is going on in terms of the needs for prayer, so we can rise to help them out. We also have here that the Christian Church of New Zealand will awaken and rise up in great love, power, strength, fearlessness and humility to be a light to New Zealand and to all the world. And they have mentioned here Isaiah 61, arise, shine, for thy light has come and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. We have here that all Christians in New Zealand will love Jesus so much that we are completely yielded, humble ourselves. And obedience is just something that is natural, that they're able to hear God's voice clearly. Yes, again, that prayer has highlighted, in addition to that, a need for courage and to be fearless. We also have here, the whole earth is full of his glory, and the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. So they're asking specifically here to pray that God's glory will be manifested through every Christian and in all of New Zealand. Finally, for new churches and movements to arise in New Zealand and around the world that will be equipped to shine his light to the world in these dark times. Now, I've done a little bit of research specifically on some of this stuff, just because I just wanted to familiarise myself with how things work politically in New Zealand. What's happening in terms of movements there. There's a lot of very similar sort of things between what is happening in Australia and New Zealand. I won't go into that too much at all. Actually, you know what, I'm not even going to really cover it, because I just, I think that's something you guys can cover. But clearly there is a movement that is stirring amongst the people that is saying, we want more freedoms to be able to explore faith. We want freedoms to see Christ, Holy Spirit, the movement of God to do what he needs to do in this nation. We're seeing that in New Zealand, and we're obviously seeing it here in Australia too. But this is things we can be continuing to pray for, guys. Now, we have people who come up against that. We have people who their ideologies are completely different. They don't see things the same way as us. What can we pray for in there? We can pray for those same sort of things I mentioned when we were talking last week about China. For those in leadership to be so stirred and shaken by the idea that Christ is real, that they want to see changes take place. We can pray for visions, and we can pray for stirrings, we can pray for yearnings, we can pray for dreams, we can pray for things that shake up societies and allow God to be seen and heard. And that is what I'm seeing here in this particular website. Very similar sort of prayer, focuses of where we can go for New Zealand. There is, again, I want to highlight this because this one stood out to me as I was reading. Fact that number 3 is people in New Zealand that are into the occult would see the greatness of God and all of them be saved. Now, again, I think hand in hand, we're talking dark forces. Whatever that looks like, whether it happens to be political, whether it happens to be spiritual, or just a human need to just stand in the way of others experiencing freedoms, I think we can pray against that. I think we can stand before, the things that are going to, I use the word oppress or deter others from seeking and learning more about God. It's a role that we can play. And I want to urge you this morning, guys, if you can, do it. I would say the same thing for our own nation. Pray for those things. But it is a very key point to what we should be praying for when it comes to New Zealand and our own people. Praying for those obstacles to be dropped, backed off, for people to truly experience God and the power and the wonder of God. He's a great God. Why would we not want to pass him on? I'll leave it with that. We'll close things up when we come back. That's a thought I want you to stick with this morning. See you soon. Well, were you born ready? I hope so, guys. That was Born Ready by Kobe James. Good morning and welcome to Rhema Central Coast. Welcome to a start of the week. Yes, it is. It's Sunday morning, which means it is the start of the week. I hope that you are looking forward to a great week this week to come. I hope it's not too cold for you. I don't like the cold, but you know what? We've got no choice. We're entering and we are in winter. Yes, it's been a bit cool this week. I don't know about you guys, but I'm never ready for the cold. It's just dark and depressing by the end of the day. It's like, the day is already finished. I have a feeling that many of you are probably disagreeing with me right now. Many of you probably like the cold. That's great. I'm so into the idea of getting through winter so we can get to spring because I love spring. Having said that, there's probably some of you guys who are thinking, no, I don't like spring. Too much in the way of hay fever. No, thank you. So either way, we can be thankful or we can be grumpy. I'll try to choose not to be grumpy this week with the cold and the dark nights hitting far too early. But it's just seasons come, seasons go. Do they not? Yes, they do. In fact, we are told that from a scriptural perspective. Seasons do come, seasons do go, and God is in all the seasons. So I hope you know that. I hope that whatever is going on in your life at the moment, God is not too far away. And I hope that if you are in those beautiful seasons of life, that you are treasuring those moments and giving thanks to God, because my goodness, they are beautiful and they are a gift. Anyway, guys, we have not been talking about that this morning. I'm winding things up on what we have been talking about. We've been talking about New Zealand, not to a great deal, but, sort of highlighting a little bit about New Zealand in terms of specific prayers that we can be praying for New Zealand. It's something that I think we are always called to do, is to be praying for other nations, and we just need to be mindful of what that includes. So, yeah, if you haven't been with us this morning, I'm not going to go back into that purely because there's some big stuff in there. But if you are interested and if you can jump on board this idea of praying for other nations, please do. This will be on the podcast, what we have done this morning, sometime today or perhaps through the week. I'm not sure when that happens. But, yeah, go back and listen and take in different things, a prayer sort of points that have been highlighted by other parts of the globe, which in particular today it is New Zealand. We're going to need to pray for each other. It's important. And just to end things off, I'm going to highlight just a few more interesting facts about New Zealand that I did not know. Perhaps you did, perhaps you didn't. We'll see. Did you know that it is the first, if you go to New Zealand itself, you will, particularly the North Island, I think it says here. Let me just double check. So North Island city of Gisborne on the east coast of New Zealand gets the sunrise first each morning. How about that? Some glorious things to see, I'm sure, in those moments. New Zealand has 2 national anthems. Interesting. It's New Zealand. It was the first country to give women the vote. And that was specifically in 1893. Apparently the presence of Kate Shepherd, who spearheaded the movement, she was a big key player in that. We have some information about insects being massive. I don't know if I could cope with that. They might not have snakes, but apparently they have massive insects. Not sure how I'll go with that. We've got here it's called a giant wheater, I don't know, which has ears on its knees, loves carrots, and weighs in at 70 grams. It is, by comparison, if you're thinking about a Mars bar, according to this website, I'll explain to you in a sec, sort of a small wet Mars bar is about 53 grams. And this particular bug, insect, whatever it actually is classed as, is about 70 grams. So they're pretty big. I'm looking up at the moment escape.com.au just to look up some interesting facts about New Zealand. Yeah, I don't think I'd cope well with that. It has here, it once broadcast a weather report on Elvish. So what does it say here? Not how Sean Connery might pronounce the name of the king of the rock and roll, but the language of the denizens of Middle-earth. The 2012 event coincided with the premiere of the film The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. We have some interesting, what have we got here? New Zealand has more golf courses per capita than anywhere else in the world. Interesting. Okay. New Zealand has rebranded fruits. So back in the day, according to this website, someone had decided that Chinese gooseberries sounded more like an indie rock band and less like a hairy snack rich in vitamin C. This particular fruit is the kiwi fruit. I'm finding this information, as I said, from escape.com.au. It has, New Zealand, particularly Dunedin, has the world's steepest residential street. Don't know if I could do that. I don't like going up big hills. I don't like walking up that. I'm too lazy. That sounds terrible, but it's true. If you ask my husband, if we get away, he likes to go for a hike. I'm like, I will see you when you get back here because there's no way I'm going up there. forget it. So clearly that would not be a street that I would be walking to or up. Let me just end with a couple more interesting facts about New Zealand. It's got here, it's always 1 tank of petrol to the ocean. So no matter where you are in New Zealand, you're only at a maximum about 128 kilometres from the seaside. Pretty cool. I know you guys are probably going, yeah, but we live this close. Yeah, true. But you know what? If you want to travel, that's a good thing to know. We have... let's see, its sports teams have some questionable names. They have highlighted here, seeking to capitalise on the fearsome rep of the All Black rugby union team. The basketballers went with the excellent Tall Blacks. Anyway, so apparently they tend to call themselves based on the All Blacks rugby team. What they think is appropriate, and yeah, but anyway, we'll leave it there. I'm going to see you guys next Sunday. And yeah, I pray for New Zealand, guys. That's the whole point of today. Keep them in your prayers. Keep them in your thoughts. Be thankful that God is a God who shines all across the globe. Clearly what we saw there is that he shows his radiance and his beauty from the very first point that light hits the earth in New Zealand of a morning. We see the first sunrise hit New Zealand. There's something majestic about that to be thinking of in awe. He's a good God, and he created all of us to be unique, to be in wonder of him. And we can do that together. We can pray for each other. We can pray for the nations across the globe. And New Zealand is a great place for you to be spending your prayers this week. I will see you next Sunday. We're talking Russia next week, as far as I'm aware. Pretty sure that's where I'm thinking of going. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I'll see you then. Have a great week. Stick around. Church on the Radio is coming, and I will see you then. Have a great one. Bye, guys.